What's going on, everybody? Cigar Show Tim here with another edition of Tobacco Talk, where I review a cigar and then I give you my thoughts on it in 4 key areas: flavor, draw, construction, and burn. It's everything you want to know about that cigar, but it's from my palate's perspective, and then I rate it as to whether I think it's nub-worthy or not. So for this review, I have a cigar that I got at PCA, still going through all my PCA new releases, and this one comes from Asylum CLE Cigars, Christian Aroa. Got a chance to talk with him quite a bit at PCA. Really enjoyed getting to know him better. But this one, I figured, you know what? I don't do infused or flavored cigars or anything like that ever. But this one piqued my attention because I am a coffee snob. So for this review, I have the Asylum Cold Brew. This one was released at PCA 2023 this year in July. You can see it right there. It's got a dark oily wrapper on it with some different color of dark brown notes on it. But if we're going to check it out and see what it's really like, there's only one thing left to do. Let's light it up. Okay, as you can see, I went with a nice, simple, easy, straight cut. Flavor notes on the cold draw. There's definitely some sweetness on the lips from this cigar being flavor infused. There's some, to me, it is like a sweetened chocolate. And if you smell the body of the cigar, to me, it smells like a Hershey Kiss. So we'll see what it's like as we get into it. But I get that chocolatey sweetness. There's a little bit of earthiness in there, and there's a little undertone of like a nice creamy espresso. So let's toast her up. Or should I say, let's make some cold brew. We'll go with that. Okay, upon initial light up, definitely picking up some earthiness with a little bit of leather, and that creamy espresso coffee note is definitely in there. That sweetness from the sweetened tip on here is definitely playing a factor in the overall profile of the cigar. There's a very sweet, like Hershey Kiss chocolate note that's in there, but you mix that with the creamy espresso and the earthiness, and they all pair together really well. So I'm going to jump into the first third on this cigar. When I come back, I'll let you know what the blend on this cigar is, how it's been treating me so far, and whether or not this cold brew sounds like something I need to keep going through. All right, let me show you the burn here at the end of the first third. As you can see there, it's got just a little bit of a wave to it. Nothing crazy, but not a perfectly straight burn. The ash holds on well. It's definitely stacking dimes as you're smoking through, and the ash held on for probably about 3/4 of an inch or so until I tapped it off. Probably would have held on longer because it took a couple taps for it to actually break off, but I broke it off that way. Okay, flavor notes in this cigar. The sweetness that is on the tip is still having a pretty significant impact into the overall flavor profile, but it's not over sweet. I am not a fan of sweetness and candy and sugary drinks and things like that at all. So this is not off-putting in that sense of being way overly sweet. But there's definitely that creamy espresso note that's in there. That chocolate, like Hershey Kiss, is very much prevalent still. And then on the long finish, especially when you retrohale, you pick up some of that earthiness, and there's a hint of some woodiness with leather in there as well. It's just a small hint, only on the long finish, and only when I retrohale do I pick those up. But that is what it is like with the flavor profile so far in the first third. Now, in terms of the blend, there is no information other than in an article on Cigar Journal's website that states that this has exotic tobaccos with flavor infusion involved. So Christian Rowe was quoted in this article on the Cigar Journal website as stating that the intention of this cigar is to attract new cigar enthusiasts, to get them into the culture, into the lifestyle, into the hobby that are cigars, and have them grow into different types of cigars as they go on in their cigar journey. So that's the intention behind this. Tom Lazuka, who is the VP for Asylum Cigars, is quoted in the article as well as saying that they get to do some different things and some out-of-the-box kind of thinking ideas, and this was one that just made sense for them to go into next as part of the Asylum line, Cool Brew, and what they have, because they did previously announced and released the 867, which does fall under this sort of same umbrella as an entry-level cigar. But it does come in multiple vitolas, and they have a 5x50, which is what I have right here. They have a 6x54, they have a 6x60, and then they have a 7x70, which, if you are familiar with Asylum cigars, under the CLE umbrella, you know that they have large ring gauge, large cigars, 770, 880, 990. Being the April Fools, they have a lot of cigars under the CLE umbrella that are the larger Vitola, but specifically under the Asylum branding. So that's what it's been like in the first third. Strength on this, I would say, is a mild plus. Very, very mild cigar, very rich, full bodied though in terms of the smoke output and all of that, and it has been a good draw throughout it as well. So I'm going to jump into the second third. When I come back, I'll let you know how it's going so far, what it's been like with the flavor profile, and anything else that I think you might need to know. All right, let me show you the cigar here at the end of the second third. You can see here still does have a wave to it. Not a crazy wave, but it's got one, so it's not burning super straight, but the ash nice and white. Holds on again for probably about 3/4 of an inch or so before one time it fell off, another time I tapped it off. Flavor notes in the second third. Not much has changed, been pretty consistent. Still get that sweet sort of Hershey Kiss chocolate note on there, which lends very well into that creamy espresso note. The leather has basically faded away though, and that earthiness is still there on the long finish. There's no kind of spice, nothing like that. It is a very, very smooth cigar. Strength on this, I would say, is still absolutely at a mild. It is not even getting into like mild plus, medium minus, nothing like that at all. Very smooth, very enjoyable. The draw is doing very well also. So overall, the Cool Brew through 2/3 of the cigar is performing well. I'm going to jump into the final third here, finish it up. When I come back, I'll let you know any changes in the flavor profile, if there are any changes, what I think about the cigar, whether I think it's nub-worthy or not, and well, we'll wrap this thing up and give you my thoughts, and we'll let you decide whether or not you need to go and get yourself a Cool Brew. Okay, let's wrap up this review. Here's the burn at the end of the cigar. You can see still has just a hint of a wave to it. Overall, not doing bad. So, as the cigar wrapped up, how did it finish off? It took a completely different flavor profile in the final third, took a turn, and I just thought, oh, holy cow, this has changed, and it got really good. I am not a fan traditionally of flavored or infused cigars. That's just not typically what I gravitate towards, but when I heard that Cool Brew was coming out, I had to get my hands on it. So flavor notes in this final third. The espresso note has become more of a bitter espresso, and it is really good. Very pronounced coffee espresso note is in there, but some spice has come into it as well. So there's a little bit of spice on the palate. There's a little bit in the retrohale, not very much at all in the retrohale, but it is noticeable. And then there's a really nice cinnamon savory note that's in there. So the espresso note with the cinnamon and a little bit of that chocolate note is still carrying its way through. It's like, honestly, it's like having a latte, a mocha latte with a little bit of cinnamon sprinkled on top. It's really good. And I typically don't go for any of the more, elaborate coffee drinks. I'm a black coffee guy. That's just how I am. That's just how I've always been. And so I have really enjoyed this final third. First third was good. Second third was good. I wasn't too pleased with how it didn't transition much really at all from the first to the second third. But in this final third, adding that little bit of spice to it and then having that cinnamon note come through as well made it a really good cigar, in my opinion, from my palate and from my experience. And that's from a guy that doesn't like flavor-infused cigars. So, do I think it's nub-worthy? I do think it's nub-worthy. I wish the first and second third would have been a little bit more transitional, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't disappointing. I just wish there was a little bit more. But overall, this is nub-worthy. Even though I'm not a flavor-infused guy, I could see myself smoking this more because it is something to just sit back and relax and enjoy. Honestly, I may get some of these to have with some buddies that come over that aren't really big cigar smokers, but I know that they enjoy coffee or they enjoy chocolate. This is something that I could see as a very good entry-level cigar for someone that isn't sure they want to have the straight tobacco and wanted to ease their way into it. Obviously, there are many other flavor-infused cigars out there on the market, but to have this be one that someone can try, especially if they enjoy coffee, would be something I would recommend to them. Put some comments down below. What is your take on a flavor-infused cigar? What, if you have a go-to, what is your go-to flavor-infused cigar? If you're not a flavor-infused cigar enthusiast, let me know your take on it based on this flavor profile. Yeah, there's a sweetness on the lips. Yeah, there was that, intensified sort of sweeter chocolate note that was on there because of the sweetened tip. But let me know your thoughts. I'm curious about them. But this is a nub-worthy cigar. I highly recommend, if you want to, you check it out. And if and when you do, come back, leave some comments, let me know what your thoughts on this cool brew from Asylum Cigars is like for you. That's going to do it for this edition of Tobacco Talk. Enjoy your cigar journey, everybody. I'm Cigar Show Tim. As always, I'll see you